Is everyone ready to get started? Welcome, everyone. If the fire alarm is activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs opposite the lifts in the foyer. Please do not use the lifts. Assemble in Hawley Square on the green, and officers will assist you and advise when it is deemed safe to return to the chamber. Could everyone present please ensure that their mobile phones are switched to silent and that they are not used to make or receive calls in the chamber while this meeting is in progress. I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured. I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. Does anyone intend to film the meeting? There's no one there, is there? Do any members wish to speak under 20.1? I've got Councillor Christian Bright and...
Yes, please. Items 4, 5 and 6.
Thank you. So welcome to any new committee members from Thanet District Council and Kent County Council. Thank you for joining us for this first Joint Transportation Board of the new municipal year. Mr. Taylor is acting as KCC Vice Chair this evening. Apologies for absence we have so far are Councillor Terry Mole, Luke Evans and Amelia Randall. Are there any other apologies for absence? Are there any declarations of interest? Do members agree that the minutes of the Joint Transportation Board meeting held on the 17th of December 2024 can be approved and signed as correct record? Can I please have a proposer? Councillor John Crittenden and a seconder, Councillor John Davis. Thank you. Do members agree? Agenda item 4, the KCC Highways Work Programme. Do councillors have any questions or comments on the report? Please note the report is for information only.
So I was just going to raise this to our KCC members. I've been through this, and I may well be missing something, but there's no sign of the work to repair the bridge on the junction of Hearson Road and Ramsgate Road. I'd previously been assured that this work was going to be carried out between either the summer or early autumn. If we could get some clarification on when that work is going to be done, because it does necessitate a rail closure as well as a road closure.
Okay, Christian, I'll get someone to look into that for you. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Councillor John Davis.
It's to do with the road asset renewal schemes, and I may have missed a point here. It's referring to Paragon, Addington Street to Spencer Square. It says programme for the 26th of June 2025, but it doesn't actually tell us what that is. Now, that's the main drag to and from the harbour from that side of town. I think we need to look quite closely at what's actually happening there, because if that whole road's closed, it's going to have quite an impact on the rest of the place, particularly if the tunnel's then shut. So, as I say, if we could have a bit more detail on that, it would be really appreciated.
Thanks, that'll be passed on to the officer. Any other comments? Councillors are asked to note this report. Agenda item 5, parking and waiting review, various. Do councillors have any questions or comments on the report? Quick, Councillor Bright.
Again, I just wanted to make a point on this one. If you look at, if councillors would look at item, or the first change there, which is Station Road, Birchington, that actually came about as a new idea, which was the repurposing of existing parking bays, basically making them longer for disabled access. That came from Birchington Parish Councillor Colin Brown last year, who wrote to me. And I think it's a really good example of how members of different councils can work together to get stuff done. So I would just, as I mentioned to Councillor Davies just now, I would just urge any members, if they have issues in their wards or trouble spots that they want to look at, to please feel free to reach out to me with any of those issues.
Thank you, Councillor Bright. Any other comments or questions? Members are asked to consider the proposals set out in Annex 1 and 2 of this report and make recommendations in relation to each proposal. And also note that in relation to each of the proposals recommended for consideration and implementation, a process of statutory consultation will progress, with the results of the consultation being presented at a later date to the board for consideration. Can I please have a proposer? Councillor Joanne Bright. And can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Harry Scobie. Do all councillors agree? Agree. Thank you. Agenda item 6, civil enforcement update. Do members have any questions or comments on the report? Councillor Christian Bright.
I did warn you. I just wanted to point out some of the numbers in here. I think it's 18,000 PCNs issued in the civic year 24-25, municipal year 24-25. There's a couple of points I want to make on that. The first is, what's not in the report is that the previous year there were 13,000. So that constitutes a 40% uplift. So I think it's worth pointing out at this time the work that Ms Button and Ms Glazer have done, and Bryn, I don't know your surname, sorry, I've forgotten it, have done in recruiting the CEOs that we need for the year. It's a really tough job, as obviously I think we all probably realise it's a really tough job, and to get those people in and to get them to stay, which is really important, because the training process takes quite a long time. So that's one of the reasons that we've actually seen such a marked increase, is the success in both recruitment and retainment of staff. The other point again, and I sort of it's a slight repetition from what I said in the last item, it's knowing where to go. Councillors are eyes and ears, so please tell your party members that if they've got a particular hotspot, always let us know. We do keep a track of everything. We do review it. We have a spreadsheet that Becky and the team look at every day. So just let us know. It really does help.
Thank you, Councillor Bright.
Thank you. Are we up to our full quota of enforcement officers now? I think it's 9 in the report. There was talk of 11 or 12 at one point.
So we hope to be at 10 soon,
10.
Which is where we should be. We used to have 12,
yeah.
But we are the budget around it is definitely for 10, and then if we need to use it for any more, then we potentially can expand to the 12 again. But just to retain the 10 would obviously make a massive difference to the area. So
Indeed.
Fingers crossed. And it's also the time it's taken to actually is training them as well, because it's not just it's at least 6 weeks training, one-to-one training, and then the courses and things. And there's always so much changing throughout the year, especially at this time of year with it being seasonal. So it's also just making sure that we can everybody's trained to the right standard, so it does take longer sometimes than just getting everybody all in one go.
Councillor John Day.
Thanks, Katie. And good news about the numbers, and they're definitely working, because I hear lots of swear words in Ramsgate at the moment. There are people reacting that haven't reacted for a decade, and they're all moaning, so it's obviously working, and well done. What I think, it was interesting what you said about, and what Councillor Bright said about the reacting to problem areas and hotspots, because which do seem to come and go depending on the mindset of whoever's running the adjacent restaurant, I hate. But a prime example though is we keep getting 3 and 4, and it's very often the same vehicles, so it's business related, parking right in the middle of the turning circle, on Eastcliff at the bottom of the lift. I've actually seen that. They remain unmolested whilst one or two cars further up the hill had got tickets on. And it just struck me that it's not necessarily the warden's fault, because they may have got a tip about the other one, they may be on a route, but that is a perennial issue down there, and it's getting worse and worse. So consequently, maybe we could look at some sort of, mechanism whereby we can notify those hot spots so they get hit a bit quicker or whatever. Again, in no way critical of the fact, because they're obviously issuing their tickets and doing their job. But it strikes me, and also on a purely ruthless basis, of course, half a dozen tickets in a line is apart from being a damn good deterrent, is also revenue, isn't it, if they insist on breaking the law.
So that is on our hotspot list, so we are there very, very regularly. And the system is still in place. If you have anywhere that you want to raise, send it through to car.parking at Thanet, and we will add it to the list.
Thanks, and thanks, Penny, because as I say, and it is one of those tricky ones, and we all like to think we all know best, but great progress, so thanks.
Councillor Garner?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the report. It's good to see the increase in PCNs issued. Is it possible to get a breakdown of what the PCNs are issued for? Because obviously we assume it's all for illegal parking, but a year ago Cabinet agreed that enforcement officers would be given the power to issue fixed penalty notices in relation to cars that are idling, especially outside schools. So I'd be interested in knowing how many tickets have been issued because of cars being idling on the roadside. Thanks.
So that doesn't fall within the parking remit. So these are all PCNs for failing to follow parking restrictions. The anti-idling stuff sits with environmental health. As far as I'm aware, they haven't issued any. I don't think they've done the campaign yet, but yeah, that is what they're working on at the moment. There are some posters which you may have already seen going up outside schools. At the moment, we've got a project with my other hat on, sorry. For those of you that don't know, I also manage environmental health. They are doing a project with schools at the moment around the idling stuff, so and air quality. So on the back of that, they'll be then doing some proactive work outside schools around anti-idling. Okay.
I can also just say on that, if I can bring to the next meeting a breakdown of where the PCNs have been issued, that's absolutely fine. So we have that data.
Councillor Mr. Shonk?
Just going back to Councillor Davis, the problem with that Ramsgate seafront has been a problem for a long time, and I've been part of KCC for a long time, and I just said, it's one simple solution there, put the cul-de-sac sign on there. Everybody turns right there to nowhere. So they all go down there, and they've all got to turn around and come back again. All you need is a sign there, cul-de-sac. If not, open the road up. That was taken away from us in about 2017, in front of that. And all that traffic that go down to the marina, what was the swimming pool. But at the moment, it's just an ordinary sign, cul-de-sac. All day Saturday and Sunday, people are turning down there. And they want to park down there. So, it's quite easy. Cul-de-sac sign, KCC, I've mentioned it 100 times.
So that would be something that KCC would need to put in place. We can raise it with them, but yeah, that's a KCC issue.
Thanks, Mr. Shonk. Councillor Quittenden?
Thank you, Chair. Going back to step, Penny, your initiative for the parking infringements outside of schools, I mean, in Minster we've had just a couple of weeks ago, we had a near fatality of a young child. In actual fact, it was the child's fault, to be honest with you. No one likes to blame children. But there's an awful lot of parking, although there is the prescribed double yellow lines and zigzags, an awful lot of parking goes on there. To be honest, I didn't think it was in your remit. I thought it was have to be a police issue, to be absolutely honest with you, so I wasn't going to raise it. But, is the initiative of parking outside schools in the whole area, or do we need to write in?
No, so that particular thing is around anti-idling, it's around air quality. The parking team have a regular patrol of schools that they do for those that have restrictions. not all schools have parking restrictions. There are some that have none at all. So obviously we don't visit those ones, but they have a rota of where they go round, and it has a short impact, shall we say? But unfortunately, it's the will of the people dropping off that they want to drop as close as possible.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, the individual involved in the accident was a mother picking up a child from school. Ironically, yet another child. So, I mean, it is an ongoing problem, but sometimes just a little bit of officialdom on occasions might just sort of help. I mean, we at our latest parish meeting, I mean, they were up in arms a bit, but I mean, it is one of these things. But I think if possible, we could have an officer around at some point. It may just deter. We've been in touch with the school, but I think they're going to publicise these things. Thank you.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I mean, we'll be on the list anyway, but obviously we'll pass it on to the officers, and I think Rebecca wants to come in as well.
I was just going to say on the anti-idling, Minster is the only school so far that's asked to be part of it, and the campaign was there today. So it happened this morning. It's the only school so far that has come back and requested it. So, so there was a joint campaign outside there this morning.
Councillor Davis.
Thanks, Katie. And at the risk of sounding like I'm arguing with Councillor Shonk, I'm not, but I think just for the record, we need to be very cautious. We can't apply for or can't put cul-de-sac signs up because, as Trevor knows, and as we do agree on, that's a highway in front of Royal Sands, and it's still legally a highway. Consequently, putting signs up telling people we can't tell them it's a cul-de-sac because legally it's not, it's a highway. The fact it's got some temporary bollards and vehicle access is restricted at times. I do think it's something that probably needs to be addressed, and I don't know, it's probably not here for the platform ultimately, because of course that highway was supposed to reopen once Royal Sands was redeveloped, and there was supposed to have been forecourt space for the commercial units and then proper public access through there. That hasn't happened, quelle surprise, but then given the decades of nonsense that went on with the establishment of that development in the first place. But I'd like to put on the record it is still a highway. I attended a hearing several years ago that KCC had tried to put a stopping up order, and that was when the shenanigans went on about moving the roundabout to outside the tunnels, and we suddenly lost about 30% more of our seafront. It's vital that these records are kept properly, because it's the rewriting of history and covenant history and so on that has enabled that loss of that public land in the first place. So I do think we need to be very careful about asking for signage, telling people it's one thing legally when in fact the contrary is the other. So I just wanted to put that on the record so that we do protect our assets and what the potential is, rather than just allowing developers to run wild and put pavements all over roads. Thank you.
Do you have a question, Taylor?
Well, I was just going to ask you guys, can we make sure that is noted, because I'd like to look into that as well at KCC.
Yes, it's noted.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Shonk.
It's been a problem for a long time. I agree with everything that's been said about that. But if it's at highways, and we're talking about stopping up in 2017, I've still got the letter at home about it, and quite rightly that Councillor Davis said it's still a road, but you can't drive along there. So why not put a cul-de-sac? Have you ever driven along there? Anybody driven along there?
3 cars went through it 48 hours ago, a guy lifting the post out, driving over it along the seafront, so it's quite accessible for those who've got visitors.
Well, let's open it up.
They should have done that because the post was there.
Let's open the road up for everybody.
Okay, thank you. It's been noted. Thank you. That's all right. Penny, do you want to come back on that?
So can I just say for the minutes that it is KCC are the Highway Authority, and they were the ones that need to resolve that issue.
I've got a question, if that's all right. On the report, it says about the number of cases that were referred to the county court. I was just wondering if there's any cost to TDC for those. Were all of them? Did any of them win their appeal?
So these are ones that are non-payment, so it isn't ones where we're going to challenge them at court or anything. It's where there's a non-payment of PCN, and the life cycle of the ticket is that if it's unpaid, whether it's been appealed through the process or we haven't heard from them, it is registered at court. There is a charge for that. It's a national charge, And then from that, we then send that debt then goes to enforcement agents where we recoup that figure back. So there is a standard charge, but it isn't something that we have to go to court or anything. It's a process.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, councillors are asked to please note this report. This concludes the business for the evening. Thank you for your attendance.
It's a very important matter. In December the 24, I brought it up that this is a joint transport board meeting. I've emailed the officer in charge, doesn't matter what his name is. It would have been nice for him to turn up here to meet the new members. How can it be joint? And last time I didn't walk out, I never walk out. I'm a stubborn old git. But it's how can you be joint when they don't turn up? KCC, I've been at KCC all day and I turn up here. They should turn up here. No ifs or buts. I mean...
Thanks, Mr. Mr. Shonk. We'll note that. Thank you. And Councillor Dawson.
Hello, hi. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, can KCC officers take this away and have a look into this? Because when we've got so many roadworks happening on the roads, those subcontractors aren't putting their equipment away. They're leaving closed road signs up, and you go down there and it's not closed. They're leaving diversion signs everywhere. And because we've got such a small space where traffic's moving around, they're all getting confused out there. So if the KCC office can make sure those subcontractors are actually tidying up, putting their stuff away, and then that will be a lot better for the traffic issues that we've got on the island already. Thank you.
I'm not sure who the Cabinet member is for transport, but I think that would be something that you'd need to raise with the Cabinet member for transport. Thank you. But who's the Cabinet member? The Cabinet member for transport. So it's whoever the Cabinet member is. Okay, thanks.
Okay, that concludes the business. Thank you.